Hi world, it's Keely and I'm back for another video. This is going to be a book haul. This is not all of the books that I've bought since my last book haul. These are just the ones that I could easily get to because my office is kind of a mess right now. You can't really see it, but there's like a bunch of stacks of books here, some stacks there, some stacks there. Stuff is just kind of everywhere. I was going to put some mini hauls in other videos because I'm filming a lot of reading vlogs right now. I'm actually filming 3 at the same time, but I decided that let's just do it all right here. So I'll show you guys all of the books. I'm not going to tell you what reading vlogs they're for, but you might be able to figure it out. Obviously, I'm doing the vampire reading vlogs. I've already posted one. I'm still reading some vampire books right now, so I'm doing a second one, but there's some that fit other categories. Let's just go ahead and get started. The first one that I have is Don't Let the Forest In by C.G. Drews. This is a young adult about this little boy, well, about this teen boy, Andrew, who writes scary stories, and then his best friend Thomas, who illustrates the stories, and Andrew's twin sister Dove, I think. And something has obviously happened to Andrew and Thomas in the previous school year. They go to school at like a boarding school kind of vibe. There's something with the forest. I don't really know what's happening yet. I'm only 40 pages in, but I'm really enjoying it so far. Then we have When the Museum is Closed by Emi Yagi, translated from the Japanese by Yuki Tajima. I am almost done this one. This one is a weird one about this woman who gets a job speaking Latin to a statue of Venus at a museum and ends up falling in love with her. It's weird. I'm having a good time with it. Then we've got a huge nonfiction that I am still reading. This is gonna take me a little while to get through. This one is Killing the Dead by John Blair. Vampire epidemics from Mesopotamia to the New World. I am not terribly far into it. I am about 100 pages into this one so far, and I'm having a really good time learning about the different cultural representations of the undead or vampires or whatever each society called them, and the potential reasons for why those societies did the things that they did and believed the things that they did. It's super duper fascinating. He also references another massive nonfiction that I have written about witches, so once I'm done this one, I might pick up that one finally, but I'm just having a great time with this one. Then I've got a middle grade. This one is The Marvelers by Donnell Clayton. This is the start in, I guess it's the Marvelers series, and it is about 11-year-old Ella, who is the first conjurer to attend the Arcanum Training Institute. She becomes the target of suspicion when an evil villain guy escapes from prison, and now she has to clear her name with the help of her friends. I've heard amazing things about this middle grade series. I love middle grade series about girls that have magical powers. I'm reading like 6 of those right now. What is it? I'm reading Keeper of Lost Cities and Amari and the Night Brothers and Green Wild. Enola Holmes doesn't have magical powers really, but then I will also be starting The Marvelers. And I got a copy of Chain Gang All-Stars by Nana Kwame Adjei-Brenyah, and I had a copy of this one from the library a couple times over the years, and I've never gotten around to reading it, but I really want to, so I decided to just get myself a copy. This one is about 2 stars of the Chain Gang All-Stars, which are part of the Criminal Action Penal Entertainment profit-raising program in America's private prison industry, where you can basically fight like gladiators as prisoners in order to potentially earn your freedom. I think this one is probably partially inspired by Invisible Man because I did start that one earlier this year. Again, I got about 60 pages into it, but that one is about a black man and a bunch of other black men that are forced to fight each other for the entertainment of white men. So I think that this one might be heavily influenced by that. I am very excited to get to this one. I have just heard amazing things, and every time that I see someone talk about it, they just love it, so I think I'm really gonna enjoy it. Speaking of Enola Holmes, we have the newest one in this series. This one is Enola Holmes and the Clanging Coffin by Nancy Springer. I'm just really excited to get to this one because this one is about Enola, who is at a funeral and they're in the graveyard and she hears a bell ringing, and the bell is attached to the toe of someone that has been buried who is obviously alive. So I'm very excited for this. Then we have Vampires of El Norte by Isabel Cañas. This is obviously because I'm reading a bunch of vampire books right now and I've heard amazing things about this one. I've read one other book by this author, The Possession of Alba Diaz, which came out last year, and I really, really enjoyed it. So I have very high hopes for this one. We have another one by Angela Carter. This one is The Bloody Chamber. This one has a collection of short stories. I think this is her most famous book that she's put out. I've read The Toy Shop and I enjoyed it, but it was really weird. So I'm hoping that I'm going to enjoy this collection of weird short stories as well. She wrote fairy tale retellings and like fairy tale inspired stories. So I have a feeling this one's gonna be weird. We've got the start of a trilogy, I think. This one is Empire of the Vampire by Jay Kristoff. And this is, I think it's like the Empire of the Vampire series or something. And there are, yeah, it's a trilogy. And I don't know a ton about it other than that people that have been reading it have been really enjoying it, and I just wanted more vampire books, so that's why I got this one. Next, I've got Blob by Maggie Sue. This is a book about a woman that finds a blob of some kind in an alleyway and takes it home and starts morphing it into like her perfect man or something like that. I don't know, it sounded wild and I've been seeing a lot of people talking about it, so I decided to pick it up. We have Bunny by Mona Awad. This one I've heard very, very mixed things about, but one of my tattoo artists was recently talking to me about it and said that she thinks I might enjoy it, so I decided to get a copy. I know that it's about like a sorority or a clique or something like that, but I haven't looked into it beyond that because I think that I'm going to enjoy it more if I don't really know what I'm getting into. I've heard it's very intense, so I'm excited for this one. We've got Night Bitch by Rachel Yoder. This is about a mother that ends up slowly morphing into a werewolf. And I'm pretty sure that for this one, at least, it's like a metaphor, but I'm not entirely sure. But I am excited to get to this one, and I have not seen the movie. We've got a collection of short stories by Mariana Enriquez. This one is A Sunny Place for Shady People. I did have Our Share of Night. I think that's the one that she wrote, that I had on my shelf, and then I unhauled it, and I wish that I wouldn't have because I've heard so many good things about it since I've unhauled it. But when I saw this collection of short stories by her, I decided to pick it up. Then we've got Big Swiss by Jen Began, and this one I think is about, it says, a brilliantly original novel about a sex therapist transcriptionist and her wild affair with one of the patients. I've heard this one is crazy, so I'm a little bit nervous about it, but I am excited. Being someone that has been in therapy for a long time and then also is trained as a social worker, I'm a little bit concerned about the premise of this one, but we'll see how it goes. Then we have A Certain Hunger by Chelsea G. Summers. This one is, it says, a chic food critic with a quite literal voracious appetite for her lovers, and it just sounded insane, and I was very excited to see this one on the shelf, and so I grabbed it. We have American Rapture by CJ Lead. I've heard very good things about this author. This one is a weird horror, and the store that we were at had this one and Mayfly, and I handed them both to my husband and said, can you read the back and tell me which one I should pick first? And he picked this one. This one says, a virus is spreading, creating a violent horde feral with lust. Sophie, a good Catholic girl, must traverse the hellscape of the Midwest to try to find her family while the world around her burns. Along the way, she discovers there are far worse fates than dying a virgin. That just sounds crazy, and I've heard good things about this author, so I'm excited to read that one. Next, we have this one. I haven't seen anyone actually read it and talk about it yet. I've only seen people hauling this one. This one is For Human Use by Sarah G. Pierce, and this one is basically like Tinder, but for dead bodies. So you get connected, like you swipe on dead bodies and decide which one's gonna come live with you. I have no idea, but it sounded wild and I thought I might enjoy it. The last one I have that I purchased, we'll go through the bag, that's library books, is My Year of Rest and Relaxation by Ottessa Moshfegh. I've heard really good things about this one. I've also heard very mid things about this one. I don't really know what it's about other than some lady that should be happy but is kind of sad or something. It says, the shocking and strangely tender story of a young woman's efforts to duck the ills of the world with the help of one of the worst psychiatrists in the annals of literature. All right, this one should be pretty interesting. Yeah, we'll see how this goes. Okay, now we have this gigantic bag of library books. I put a ton of library books on hold and I've been waiting. I just keep getting the emails like another one's ready, another one's ready. So today after work, I finally went to the library and picked them all up. I'll set those ones aside because those are ones I got when I was just like walking around. I have had this one on my Amazon wish list for years, ever since I saw Jen Campbell talk about it like 6 years ago or something. This one is Ghostly by Audrey Niffenegger, and this one is a collection of ghost stories. It includes a collection of ghost stories by a bunch of different authors, and it's got stories from Edgar Allan Poe, Edith Wharton, P.G. Wodehouse, M.R. James, Rudyard Kipling, Ray Bradbury, and more. Then we have the newest one from River Solomon. I am so excited to read more from this author. This one is Model Home. This one is their take on a haunted house story, and I have not read from River Solomon since I read, oh my god, what story was that? An Unkindness of Ghosts. I read An Unkindness of Ghosts years and years ago and absolutely loved it. And since then, I've heard that Sorrowland is an incredible one to read by them. And I have a copy on my Kindle. I just haven't picked it up yet. But I figured I would read this one since this one just came out. And I am a sucker for a haunted house story. That's definitely something that I want to have when I have like, this is in the future, like future Keely, when I'm able to build like my dream shelves. I'll have a whole horror section, but I'm gonna have it separated by like haunted houses and then like possessions and vampires and werewolves and witches and all that shit. Because I read a lot of haunted house stories and I own a lot of haunted house stories, but I also own a lot of like haunted house adjacent stories, which are where like someone inherits a house from their family member. They have to go live at the house and something weird is going on with the family member. I have a lot of those books and I love them. So hopefully I'll enjoy that. Next, we have these two by Uketsu. I have heard very mixed things, but the newest book in this trilogy, I assume it's a trilogy, came out, and my Barnes & Noble, if I still have the picture, I'll insert it here, had the creepiest statue thingy for it, and it looked amazing, and I didn't want to buy it until I knew if I was going, there's a fuzzy, I didn't want to buy it until I knew if I was going to enjoy the series or not. So there's Strange Houses and Strange Pictures, and then the newest one is Strange Buildings, and these are Japanese mystery novels. This one says Japanese mystery. This one says Japanese mystery horror. So I will read Strange Houses and then I will read Strange Pictures unless I absolutely hate Strange Houses, and hopefully then we'll end up buying them all because I love them so much, but we'll see. I don't really know a ton about them other than that they're really freaking weird, so excited for that. Then we have Sword Heart by T. Kingfisher. This is one of their newest. I have a list of my favorite authors that I'm trying to read all of their works. T. Kingfisher is on that list. I don't think I'm ever going to get through all of their books. Same with Shirley Jackson, John Scalzi, or Ursula K. Le Guin. Just too prolific. So I don't know if I'm going to get through all of them, but this author is also pumping out a shit ton of books last year and this year. I've read Sorceress Comes to Call, Nettle and Bone, What Moves the Dead, A House with Good Bones. The other two in the, is it What Moves the Dead that had a trilogy? I've read those ones. This one says it's a delightful fantasy romance between a widowed housekeeper and her unlikely sworn protector. I just had this on my list since I saw it was coming out, and obviously I was going to get a copy eventually to read. Next, we have The Familiar by Leigh Bardugo. This is, I think, her newest one, or came out within the last few years, and I know a lot of people went into it thinking it was a vampire novel, but I don't think it is. I think if anything, it's witches. It sounds like if anything, it's like kind of witchy. We'll see what I think. I've heard very mixed things about this one. I know people had a lot of hope for it and then were let down, so we'll see. Then we have The Bewitching by Sylvia Moreno Garcia. I do own a bunch of this author's books on my Kindle, and then I have the Dr. Moreau retelling as a physical copy because The Island of Dr. Moreau was one of my favorite stories of all time, and I wrote some papers on it for my undergrad, part of my undergrad degree, so I read a lot of Moreau retellings, and that was the only one I bought a physical copy of, but there's one that is about vampires that I bumped up to the top of my list because I really want to try from this author. I know there are some people that have read everything that they've put out. And then this is the one that's like multiple storylines about witches, like I think across generations or something. And I've heard mixed things, but I kind of love when that happens. I've read a handful of books about witches that are multiple like storylines, multiple generations, and I tend to enjoy them. We'll see if I enjoy this one. Only 2 more in here. We have Ladies in Hating by Alexandra Vast. And this one just looked like it was going to be fun, so that's why I decided to get it. It says, Gothic novelists trade rivalry for love in this swoony, steamy, sapphic Regency romance. And I don't know, it just seemed like it was going to be a lot of fun. So that's why I decided to pick it up. And then the final one that I did put on hold is this one. This one is Buffalo Hunter Hunter by Stephen Graham Jones. He has a new one coming out this year, but I think this is the one that he just put out last year or the year before. And this one is set in Montana, and I've heard that it is as close to a vampire story as his books have gotten, I think. I'm not sure. I've only read 2 books from this author, but I really enjoyed both of them. It was Night of the Mannequins and Mapping the Interior. I did really enjoy both of those. So I'm hoping that I'm also going to enjoy this one. And then while I was walking around, I picked up a couple short ones. So we have Haunt Sweet Home by Sarah Pinksker. And this one sounded fun. It says, on the set of a kitschy reality TV show, stage scares transform into unnerving reality in this spooky ghost story from a multiple Hugo and Nebula award-winning author. I don't know. I remember when this one came out and I had it on my list because I liked the cover. And I'm hoping that I will also enjoy this short horror story. Ghost story. And I think I had this one checked out before. This one is The Factory Witches of Lowell by C.S. Malarich. And this one is super duper short. And it is about women that work in a factory and they use witchcraft to help their situation in life. But there's a quote on the back from P. Djeli Clark saying that they really loved it. And I'm a huge P. Djeli Clark fan, so I'm hoping that I will enjoy this one as well. Then we have Daphne by Josh Malerman. I have read, I think, 2 by Josh Malerman. I read Bird Box and I read Unbury Carol. Is that what that book's called? And I loved both of them. I have, I think, one other book by this author on my Kindle that I've never gotten around to reading, but they had a bunch of his work at the library, and I know he's got a new book coming out later this year about a serial killer. And this one just sounded like it was going to be a lot of fun because I very much, my husband and I are going to do a 90s, early 2000s horror movie, like, weekend. And so we have movies like The Grudge and Scream, I Know What You Did Last Summer, that kind of shit on our list. This one sounds like it's going to fit into that. So this one is about a group of basketball students that start going missing after telling the story of a ghost girl named Daphne who either went to their school, murdered someone at the school, is murdering people at the school, something like that, and then getting revenge. And it just sounds like it's going to be a lot of fun. So that's why I picked up this one. And the final one for this haul is Ian Reid's I'm Thinking of Ending Things. I don't know anything about what this story is about, except for that it's really short. And when Sydney read it, she said that it was wild. So I'm really looking forward to finally reading this one because yeah, I've heard that it's just like a really unsettling horror novel. Let me know based on any of these books if you have any recommendations, what has been your favorite horror that you've read so far this year, or weird story if you are someone that reads those types of books. And that's it. I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.